Okay, you're on.
All right. Here's my prop. Here's my weapon. It's unloaded, as you can see, but because my speech is going to be about stuff with guns. I know you all have kids or grandkids. If you're not the kid from them, in recent years there's been a strike of gun shootings in the school, and I thought of the moment when my wife called me telling me that my daughter's school is locked down because of a shooter. Not only have I dreaded that moment, but last year my wife found out that there are no security measures in place for her school, which is not great. But I'm going to be talking about guns in schools and prevention. Much of the information I'm going to share with you today came from research, peer review articles. I'll be presenting research that has been made regarding why I believe schools should allow for teachers to carry guns in schools and to protect our kids, mental effects, procedures, and failures. Gun violence in America and Canadian schools is an ongoing tragedy that goes substantially beyond its roots in the interlocking emotional and behavioral issues of mental health and bullying. Most of the gun violence was in focus since the Columbine High School shooting in '99, which is still termed the deadliest high school shooting in America's history. Most of the shooting has been done by most of the excuse me, deadliest high school shooting in America. Most of the shootings have been done by college-age students. Because of these shootings, there are different thoughts about guns on school campus. College students do not feel comfortable with concealed weapons on campus. Most of the students who oppose to having concealed handguns on campus have also stated they would not own a gun. Um, Yet pro-gun and anti-gun control advocates that are focusing with the mentally ill as a way to solve the gun violence. In the recent shootings, there has been a similarity on mental illness, like Jared Longner in the Tucson school shooting, who was required to have an evaluation. Now there are many mental researches being done on how all the shooters in school-related shootings link with mental illness. In the wake of the school shootings, there are new researches being done in relation to prevent gun violence. There are legal requirements that are needed to purchase a gun. Here in Texas, you just go get the gun. But when gun control and pro-gun advocacy groups talk about children and guns, the images they describe cannot be more different. Uh, in the in the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, being a computerized system run by the FBI that maintains the eligibility data for purchase of firearms, background checks, and that was started by the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act of '93, which mandated both background checks and a waiting period for purchasing handguns. And then there's red flags, where 10 states have passed to keep guns away from people who might be a risk to themselves or others. And teachers and physicians are required to report any threats to themselves or others and any changes that might implicate that they may be showing signs. Teachers and physicians are required to report any threats to themselves or others and any changes that might implicate that they may be showing signs of, of being a threat to school students or others. All of these laws and regulations are good, and the teachers reporting any changes in physicians also, but there is a downfall to all of these, which is why I believe teachers should go through training and have guns to protect our students. When gun control and pro-advocacy groups talk about children and guns, the images they describe could not be more different. Access at home. There are parents who have taught their kids not to touch their guns, even though it is taught as a child. You run the risk of having a student who grabs your weapon and takes it to school and causes a mass shooting. The waiting period that is required to obtain a gun would be unsuccessful since they have access to the gun at home and allows them to make plans like they've had in the recent school shootings. And the police, in some cases, the physicians do inform the police of violent thoughts that students have, but it's always in the hands of the police. In the murder of Tatiana Tarasov in '69, the police were informed of the defendant's thoughts, but the police did not intervene. Rather, only interviewed the defendant. Months later, she was killed. Physicians, like stated before, physicians are obligated to inform police of imminent danger to others, but there is only so much they can do, like placing those on the NCIS list. They will remove the individual's Second Amendment. NCIS background checks and waiting period. Being placed, like stated earlier, will remove your Second Amendment right to purchase any guns. Now, there are 20 states that require a criminal background check before purchasing a gun, which is a good thing if you are a convicted felon or a court determines you are mentally ill, you won't be able to purchase a gun. The waiting period, like stated before, is not good at all because most of the students that have committed the school shootings have gotten their gun from home or friends. First, we spoke about what should be done about the shootings in schools. Next, what rules and regulations have been put in place and how these regulations and rules have failed. Finally, the public should consider putting teachers with guns in schools. In a recent university case, a student with no history of mental illness, no known disruptive behaviors on campus, and no known academic problems committed suicide after his alleged plan for a mass shooting was interrupted by his roommate walking in on him minutes before he planned to act. He was a good student, and no one noticed he was planning this horrible event. Thank y'all for listening to my speech.